Привет из Сингапура! С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about shareholder and let's start with the definition.
Shareholder или акционер, this goes directly from the name. Share is part of something. A holder and person who is holding this. For example, we have a company for 3 or 5 persons, and we could divide it in different ways, maybe in equal parts or unequal parts. Maybe this is depend from impact which everyone does to the company. But anyway, we have different roles and we have different rights. For example, we divide company and with Maxim, and we have such division like I am responsible for technology and maybe for clients, and Maxim responsible for product, for process, for marketology, and maybe for advertising and so on. And then we start to build our future, and everyone does his job. But sometimes we want to know what is our balance, what is our budget. Does we do better than previous year, or maybe we're going worst? And shareholder, this is a person who from one side usually give a good impact for the company, like network, like money, like knowledge, like technology, even face or something else. But from other, shareholder sometimes has so many sub-employee which does a lot of job, and how many rights does this person has to ask them some questions? For example, to hire, to fire, to remove from the position, or to find another place to work.
And my next question, which is about fundamentals, I will split it into two parts. The first one, what do we need as someone who observes or works with a shareholder need to know about how they function, what are the fundamentals, and in terms of the shareholder itself, what makes it efficient? What makes this person efficient?
First, let's start with some papers which we should fill before we start our business. Usually, it's so-called shareholder agreement, and this is not a main document which is usually made for government and for tax office. A shareholder agreement sometimes written on the napkins, but this is almost everything about out of the law, how we conduct our discussions, how we resolve our disputes, how everyone can go out to make a buyout, or for example buyback. How to be efficient shareholder? First, you should know something about business to be useful for the company. If you have just money, no one will work with you, because if you have money and you have no knowledge, you will be like a brake, like an anchor. You will ask the questions, we will spend a lot of time to educate you, so you will not be pushing the business, but you will force to slow it down.
Obviously, there might be different types of the shareholders with a different sort of expertise and maybe involvement into the business. So in order to move from the one who is like some sort of like a passive or just a beginner to the one who is the professional or very seasoned shareholder, what kind of levels they will need to pass?
First, you should create small company and not for all of your money. If you will spend all of your money for your business, you will be very nervous, very jealous, very hesitating. So your business should be like 3 times less than your amount of money. And on this scale, you could learn how to build a company, how to make hierarchy, how to give roles, how to check people. And there is a saying, people respect what you inspect, and you could use two stress in it. For example, people respect what you inspect, and people respect what you inspect.
In terms of the mistakes that shareholder could make when they running the business or when they involving into the business, what is the list?
Shareholders usually should be part of the business when it has not a great scale. They can do some job, for example, work with most affluent client. They could do maybe the most tough part of the process or technology. They could meet with officials and talk to some people from the government and so on.
And let's talk about the relationships with the shareholder from the employee point of view, depending that, let's say you do have a certain level of access. So what kind of relationship you should build in advance in order to make sure you do progress as an employee efficiently and you still help your shareholder in order to achieve their goals?
There is a saying which I say often, you start business with people you have and you finish business with people you want. So when you have not too much money, when you have not too much choice, you start working with people who surround you or will found you by advertisement, or maybe you found them and recruit in a very short period. And these people usually wants just to have money. They work for a salary. You know, this is a great difference. Shareholders often work for idea. They want to grow, they want to build something, and they not think so much about money. They already have spent a lot of money in this company. But people who are working for them, this employee, they spend nothing, and they just think how to have their money, and they don't want to think about the future, about this company size, and for sure about shareholders. And you know, there's very smart sayings in American language, in American English, like if you do not think about shareholder, never um, never hope that he will think for you.
That's a wise words. So now let's look into the relationship with a shareholder from someone who comes from the outside. So let's say it's a consultant or a external professional who have to work with them on certain project. So how they should build their relationship in this case?
If you have bright stars or flash team or Sonderkommande, these people are usually talented, but from other side, they are капризный. How to say капризный?
Need to think about probably
Okay.
picky.
Yes, okay, let's say picky. And you know, this is a very strange wage. From one side, from one point of view, they are capable to do things that never could be done without them. But sometimes we depend so much about their mood that we should be very carefully. You know, this is like chicken eggs. This is a very useful food, but if you will be not cautious, you will break them down. The same with talented people. So if you want to work with people who is higher than average level market, you are going to work with chicken eggs.
And there might be the cases when the owner of the company, let's say the main shareholder of the company, is actually acting as the CEO. What are the specifics here for him and for the people he works with?
No, this is not a good idea to be a main shareholder or single shareholder and also to be a CEO, because CEO role is usually to take a lot of decisions, not a great scale, but all of them about хозяйствование, about administrative resources. So you should spend for very small things like soap, like water, like heating, like internet, and so on. And when you are CEO and this is your money, you will see how people do not respect your resources. They spend more soap, more toilet paper, and so on. And this is not a funny when you're working, for example, in a company with 100 employees. If you will see how many bills you paying, you will be in stress all the time. So it is a great idea when you have like 20 or 25 people to put someone on your place to have another person as a CEO. And his role, his job would be to make bookkeeping and to control it, to make payments, to make budget, and to make calendar of future payment. And you should you should step aside and do not worry about this small amount of money penny.
So we were talking about the shareholder as a single person, but what about the case when you have at least two or even more shareholders with a different type of shares? So what should be dynamics within the group of those shareholders and how they should build their relationship with the CEO and the management of the company, or maybe with some of the top employees they interact with?
If you are a single as a shareholder, you're lucky. If you have at least one shareholder almost the same size, it is became very tricky. The company would be divided. Some people will work with one shareholder, another company with another shareholder, and there is just one way to not have a quarrel. First, this company should be divided by functions. For example, you do IT, you do advertising, and you do bookkeeping, and another person will do some other stuff. If you will cross the line, if you will hit the border, you will have a war, and all people should decide on which side they. And if, for example, this quarrel will lead to the separation of the company, a lot of people will lose their job. So, that was a time when I was working in Alpha Bank, and we were celebrating 25th anniversary of this company. And suddenly I was standing close to one of main shareholders, and he suddenly pronounced such a speech. It was small but very impressive. It was unofficial, and not many person was listening to it. And he said, I was never knowing that for this 25 years, I will give a job almost for 500,000 people, but not just for them, but also for their householders. And I was thinking, yes, it's quite impressive. So I am giving a job and money, not just for my employees, but also for their families. And if I will destroy the company, if I will make something not in proper way, they will have a risk, maybe a risk of their whole life. In great case, my company will become famous and rich, and I became very powerful, and my people will be lucky to work for me. Or, for example, I could be not such a good person, and they will lost their time, their years, and they will say that this was maybe the biggest mistake in their life.
Truly, they say with a great power comes even greater responsibility. My last question will be how knowing about shareholder could help to make this world a better place.
Maxim, you have write a really great article. I was joined to read it and to put it on site of School of Troubleshooters. I like a lot people who make their business, the small business or average business, it doesn't matter. I have a saying that business is the same size of the owner. So it's quite okay if you have business of your own without someone. But if you want to be a shareholder, you should think how to combine several people, several persons with different talents in same team with same goal and run as fast as possible. There is a kind of sport in running. I don't know how to pronounce in English. Maybe it's called like estafette.
Estafette, yes.
Yes, estafette. And they do the same job, but on the different parts of the round on the stadium. The same is with the shareholders. In different situations, different shareholders should take a wheel drive, and they should to make course in the right direction to save everyone from mistakes, from going to the pits, to the holes.
Акционер – это не только тот человек, который вкладывает в компанию, но также он следит за всеми людьми, которые в ней работают. Мы рассмотрели навык акционер и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!